Hello, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to our Motorbirds Next Live. Today we'll talk about Georgia. Everything you want to know about Georgia, why it is worth to visit this beautiful and breathtaking country, what are the really interesting spots, what is good about food and cuisine. There will be a lot about wine, great food. We'll also talk about the COVID restrictions. And first of all, why we talk about Georgia? Georgia is opening its borders on 1st of July. So we thought that many of you probably would be interested to go there. And we decided to talk about this country in details, and we asked our special guest to participate. And I will introduce our beautiful, amazing special guests in a second. First, we have to know that, as always, we have here two of our dogs which want to participate in the live. So here is Kulka, very special. They may interrupt us from time to time. Before we go to the point, please let us know in the comments if you can hear us well, if you can see us, problems, and we really want you to hear everything. So please let us know how it is. If there is any problems, put it in the comments. I understand, as we don't have any comments, that everything works fine. So please give the very, very, very warm welcome to Martyna's Gruzji. Martyna, which is absolutely amazing, beautiful Polish girl who has been living in Georgia since 2013. And as many stories, she just went there for a trip and she has stayed until today. Martyna is in Tbilisi, in Georgia. Hello, Martyna. How are you?
Hello everyone. Greetings from Georgia. Short notification from Kutaisi, second biggest city, not exactly from Tbilisi. So warm hugs from here. Hello everyone.
Okay. Tell me just before we go to the points, is it already super hot in Kutaisi or is it still quite okay? Because I remember when I was there, it was really, really like hell, the temperature.
So Kutaisi is famous from these hell temperatures, and yes, it started already some weeks ago, and I believe it will continue minimum till the end of September. So we are
Okay. Martina, please tell us how did you end up in Georgia?
The thing is that all the great adventures starting from accidents, and this great adventure started the same. When I was a student, I was studying law in Poland, and someone had a crazy idea. Let's go to Georgia. And I thought, like, okay, 7 days of party, never killed nobody. Where is Georgia? I didn't know exactly. But I was expecting great time with my friends. And how great this time was just overwhelmed me. And the 7 days turned to 7 years already. So you can imagine what kind of party it was.
Yeah. Do you plan to stay there forever or you miss home?
Well, the thing is that already first day I met some very handsome Georgian man who made his business to explain me how wonderful idea it is to stay in Georgia. And indeed, he was successful in this. So yeah, already the same year I visited Georgia 5 more times. And next year I already started to work in Tbilisi. And what is interesting is that actually my first job in Georgia was given to me by Kuba, who was your guest last week. So let's send him some tips. Yeah, so thanks, Kuba, for my first job, and thanks for giving me this chance.
Okay, last week we spoke with Kuba, live in Georgia, Polish, now running a guest house and vineyard in Georgia. And it seems Martina is telling us that all Poles in Georgia know each other. Is it the case, Martina?
Yeah, actually, I think it is. I think it is. And in general, there is something also about Polish people who are coming to Georgia, deciding to stay, and then they all have some fantastic businesses like Cuba, and we are really famous for having great ideas here. So yeah, but
Is there
from this 2000,
any other nations like Poles who get along so well and decided to stay in Georgia? Of course, kind of
well,
exception.
we are definitely the biggest amount of Polish people in Georgia, but also there is a new trend with Russian people. I have some Russian friends who also, after first visit, decided to stay here. So I think that in general, the amount of foreigners living in Georgia is growing, and it's growing rapidly.
Okay. Did you finish your legal studies? That's the question because I don't know if you know I am also a lawyer.
Really? Well,
Yes.
yeah, I managed to finish, but I never worked even one day in this business field. So it was just getting a diploma, like saying thank you to my parents and starting to live my life freely. So yeah, I don't regret anything. Georgia is much better than law.
Yeah, I can imagine. I used to work 12 years in legal office before I switched to the motorcycle business, and I can assure you the choice you made is more interesting and adventurous. So don't regret anything. Martina, how does your normal day look in Georgia? Is it different than how you lived in Poland, or it's more or less the same?
So the thing.
I don't know if you can hear me. Yes. Okay, we are again live. Martina, go ahead.
Yeah, so there is a big difference between winter life in Georgia and summer life. Georgia is a touristic country, and I also work in tourism business. I'm having rental. So when in the summer months, I definitely work very hard from early morning till late night. But still, everyone have to know that working hard in Georgia is not anywhere close to working hard in Western countries. Our waking up early, it's probably somewhere between 10 and 11, and no one is starting work earlier. And also our hard work and business meeting also very often they contain a big amount of wine, and it's very easy to fall from business lunch to massive party with Georgian wine and toasts and enormous amount of food. So you should just be ready that whatever you find normal in Western countries, here in Georgia will be much more crazy, much more full of wine, and much more lazy. So yeah, this is basically my life. Lot of cars, lots of friends from Poland, lots of clients, lots of amazing adventures. Yeah, that's all about it.
Yeah, so just to introduce all of you, Martina yet. Martina is running the family business. You can find it on the website martina.pl. I think you need to do it in English once in a while, by the way. And if you want to hire a car to go on a 4x4 trip, it's very difficult. Because you know a lot of the beaten track places and interesting Georgia. So, Martina, tell me, what is the best way to know Georgia and to travel country? Because we are bikers, we always travel on motorbike. In our opinion, this is the best way, but we also know the cars. So, do you think there is a big difference between the car and the bike?
Well, we have to start from the information that last year Georgia was visited by 10 million tourists. So it's a lot for a country that have only 3 million citizens. And this indicates that to get to know Georgia in a proper way and to have adventure, you definitely need to get off the beaten track. And this you can do only by motorcycle or very good off-road car. So, in my opinion, this is the only two ways of exploring Georgia, because visiting Georgia, anyone can do it. But to explore it, to get to know it, and to have your lifetime adventure, you definitely need a motorcycle or an off car, and that's for sure. So, anywhere outside of the beaten track, it's okay. And in Georgia, we have a lot of places that are still untouched by tourists or slightly touched by tourists. And this is what we have to focus on. So interact with locals, go deep in the forest, go deep in mountains, check the roads that you are willing to take, and make it as more local as you possibly can.
Why you think Georgia is like a magnet for foreigners? Because we said 10 million people visiting Georgia last year, and it is also one of the hotspots and first destinations and the motorbike community, probably also for by four riders and normal tourists. What is so special about Georgia? When people think about holiday, they think, okay, let's go to Georgia, which is kind of small country in the mountains. So why this? Why nothing else?
Well, I think because in spite of the fact that there are so many people coming to Georgia, but still there are many places that are absolutely untouched. As you can imagine, the most famous road in Georgia is from Tbilisi to Kazbeki. And we both know that this experience is terrible. This road is nothing for us, for people who are seeking adventure. It's very disappointing. But we both also know that it's enough to go 5 kilometers, doesn't matter left or right. We can go to Truso Valley, which is absolutely amazing, which is wild, and which doesn't have more than 5 visits a day. You can do it by off-road car, you can do it by motorcycle. If you are unlucky, you can even get by kidnapped by Ossetian separatists. And on the right
Here we go.
Hmm?
Don't tell this because people will be afraid.
No, don't worry, such things happens only twice in past 5 years and everything finished okay. But this is the left side, the Truso Valley. And then on the right side, we have something very special exactly for people using motorbikes. It's Juta and the road around it. You cannot get there anyhow else than on your foot if you are strong enough on cool motorcycle off-road type like enduro bike. So this is amazing.
Which I actually did this winter and it's fantastic.
Yes, it's something like a different experience because here we have this beaten track full of tourists from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the evening, full of cars, nothing special, with very bad taste of souvenirs on the right and left side of the road, and even Kazbeki is very crowded. So we have to find this alternative road, but fortunately there are so many waterfalls, and he came to Georgia and he made waterfalls exactly his main subject of this trip. He was amazed because when you make your travel adventure-like, your possibilities in Georgia are just limitless. And everything in Georgia is just starting. So instead of this basic visiting canyons, like this, everything that is in the guidebook, so Okatse Canyon. But do you know that you can also go in the canyon using rope with certified instructors, and you can be one of the few people that had a chance to explore this canyon. And it's all around Georgia. In every region, every village, you have something interesting to do.
This was a good. Do you hear?
Yes.
If you could tell us a bit of advice, a couple of the track or visiting, not this high places, but something which you think makes Georgia really special. You already said Juta, Dauri, and Stepatina. Maybe you can choose, let's say, 5 other attractions or the people know. We can share them with our guests and they could maybe explore it either using motorbike or maybe taking your car.
Yeah, so we will start with top of the top, and I think you can agree with me that the best of the beaten track in Georgia is actually Sheti and Road to Omalo. We can both agree on this, right?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, this 7 kilometers of road is really the lifetime experience. I had different reactions. Most of it was laughing, crying, being excited, being scared, turning back. You name it, I've seen it. So this is the first and only for me what I make Queen of Georgian roads. Omalo Road,
Mhm.
definitely. But
And the funny thing, sorry to interrupt, is that this is very famous. So on one hand, everyone visits Georgia to go there, and it mostly used for by cars. So it's a lot of cars to go. But on the other hand, the place has not lost anything of charm, of the beauty. So it's really worth visiting it. And if you have a motorbike, you can go a little bit beyond the Oman, then there will be probably completely alone.
yes, yes, definitely. I have never seen more than 20 people in Tusheti. So if you actually enter, then your next possibilities are really limitless because you can choose many different roads, go to villages that are abandoned. The only thing you need is really a motorbike because it's much more reliable in that such narrow roads than 4x4 cars. And
Yeah,
now,
have to be experienced by.
definitely, definitely. I don't recommend it for unexperienced drivers. Doesn't matter cars or motorbikes, definitely. And now to give you the hit for upcoming season. Because
Okay.
in the upcoming season, it will be all about Ajarian mountains. I don't know if you had a chance to go from Batumi to Ahaltsihe in this road that is going across the Kula.
No, I don't think so, but I will definitely try this one.
Yes, so there's another one because this one is already off-road road that very few people are crossing. But the thing is that from Hulo, you have to go left to the direction of Bahmaro and turn your map settings to bicycle road. And then what you will see, you can note it, it's Gomis Meta. It's absolutely one of the kind experience, and if you are experienced driver, you can go through the mountains very hard off-road to the city named Bahmaro. And in Bahmaro, what is waiting for you, I will not tell you. If you want, you can Google or you can make yourself a surprise, but definitely it's a one of a kind experience even for Georgia.
Okay, this is very useful. Thank you very much. And we have one question. Let's see. Hello, Mika. Nice to see you. The dziewczyny. Greeting. Okay. One question, one moment. Guys, ask, is it easy to camp in Georgia or guest house is a better choice? What would you say?
So the thing is that my main advice for you is don't book your accommodation outside of major cities. So Tbilisi, Batumi, Kutaisi, sure, book it in advance. But if you are going to such small villages like we are advising you to have this one of a kind experience, don't do it. Don't book anything. Take your tent because it's legal in Georgia to camping anywhere you want, or make this game one step further and don't book anything, don't take your camping things, just ask a local if they can recommend a guest house. Maybe it will not be a real guest house. Maybe someone will just offer you your home. Of course, it's better to give them some money for this, but to have such experience of a hospitality, which is very famous in Georgia, this type of hospitality, Caucasian is also experience of its own. So if you will combine very cool off the beaten track roads with unbooking your accommodation and giving it a little bit of freedom. So take it as it is. You like the place a little bit more. Maybe you planned it for one day. You like it, stay for 2 days or 3 days. Maybe there is a bad weather in different regions that you're planned. Just give yourself a little bit freedom and Georgia will surprise you and it will give Georgia knows what is best for you. Just leave it like this. Don't book accommodation, take a tent or ask someone to advise you a local home.
Okay. And can you tell us, because it's very good advice actually, in which language is best way to communicate with the locals? Because we have to assume that we don't speak Georgian, okay? So how to communicate with the locals in the small villages?
Yeah, so the thing is that it's already much easier to communicate in English language than it was, let's give it 2 or 3 years ago, because Georgia started to live from tourists. So this young generation is helping to provide the service in English, and everyone is very focused on this. But there's like also good information for Polish people, exactly. As you know, I'm Polish. And if you are Polish, it's basically enough to speak Polish with little bit of Russian accent, because due to the hard history of Georgia, everyone knows here at least a bit of Russian, so you can communicate freely. And of course, alcohol is helping. So we speak to them in Polish, they speak to us in Russian, or we already don't know which language we are speaking. But believe me, you can communicate. If you want, you will.
Okay, and they will help us. I know they are very famous for hospitality, and they always do their best to actually help you and find a solution if you have a problem. This is how I. Okay, Martina, coming to the completely opposite of what is the biggest para in Georgia? If you are a foreigner and you go to visit the country, and let's say we follow your advice, so we sleep in the local houses and we meet local people, what we should not not offend them.
So I will divide this answer into two parts. So one is if you don't give Georgians a chance to be hospital to you. If you decline them a glass of wine, or when they are inviting you for a dinner and you say no, of course it's very bad scene. It's like a little bit of offense towards their culture, which is all about the hospitality. But we already don't have such problems in Georgia. Now the problem is a little bit different. So there is a group of people who are coming to Georgia because they want to take advantage of this famous hospitality. And there is a group of people that is having a plan in their mind that it's enough to ask for a glass of water in the village. And then these rural people in Georgia, they will invite you for a homestay, they will give you dinner, they will host you for 1 or 2 days, they will kill a pig to make a wonderful feast for you. And they are not willing to give them something in return. And you should know that these people are very proud, but they are also extremely poor. And most of the Georgians actually live for 100 euros per month. You can imagine the amount of money it is. And the prices are same. So if this family will host you and they will kill this one pig that they have saved for the upcoming winter, you are leaving them with very hard situation. So don't do like this. Leave them some money, and if they will not want to take it, say that you are already a friend, a family member, and they should take it as an investment because you will come back. And it will be a pleasure for you to see that maybe they bought a fridge, or maybe they have 5 more chickens. And do it like this. And
Very good point.
never leave them
Because
empty
a
handed.
lot of us people from the Western civilization, they forgot how hard it can be to live in the villages, that areas. So we take for granted that there is food, everything is available, but the case in Georgia. And if you combine it with their free super hospitality, and they will try to treat you the best way they can, they can end up taking advantage of it too much, exactly like Martina said, having troubles during the winter. So please think about the situation and all these people, and don't take advantage of their hospitality. It will be great to spend the night with them or have an interaction, but leave something in exchange, because then you will go home to your warm flat and you will have to live all winter without food and without supplies. Think about the advances. And with this accent, we will move. So my favorite topic is the night, which I think is the topic I you have a lot to say about it.
Yes, so basically I have 7 years of experience in Georgia and also 7 kilograms more in compared to the time when I came to Georgia. So yeah, I have 7 kilograms more if we compare to 2013 and now, and not getting fat in Georgia started to be my everyday struggle. This wine have a lot of calories and it's our daily basis, to be honest. So yeah, Georgia is a cradle of wine. We make wine, and to be honest, doesn't matter you are living in the village or you are living in a block of flats like me, we all make wine. The only difference is that I make wine in my garage, that's all. So yeah, we do it, and we have biggest variety of wine you can possibly imagine. It's all beautiful, and it's not giving you the hangover if the quality of wine is good. This is also important.
Okay, this is good to know. Yeah, Georgia is very famous of wine, as far as I know. You can also visit places like, for example, Cuba Guest House, where you can see how the wine is made. Do you know any of other vineyards or local places where people can actually see how you do the wine?
Yes, of course, there are so many, and they are places that are made for tourists, but in a good place. Let's say that they are saving this local tradition, but still they are open for tourists and they make for the tourists extra. But I will give you the best advice to buy wine in Georgia and to see how it's produced. So instead of going and finding the proper winery, you just find a village that is famous of making this certain type of wine. And there are so many. Probably in every 30 kilometers you can find such village just by using Google Maps. And then you just go to this one local market in this village and ask first person you see where you can buy home wine. And this person will take you to their neighbor or a friend, and they will not show you how they are making wine, but they will give you a try. They will provide you with liters of it, and they will very likely invite you to be the part of this winemaking culture. Maybe you will make a full degustation. Maybe you will be able to take part in the process if you are visiting in September or October. Maybe they will show you their grape yards, or just do it. Just reach to the locals and they will show you how the wine make. You don't need a fancy winery for this. Definitely not.
And what about what is your favorite dish? Because as you said, Georgian cuisine is very famous, very tasty. And I don't know actually how did you look for these 7 years, because you're really thin, so if it's with 7 kilograms, you reduce things. Georgia makes good.
Fortunately, I came to Georgia and now I have a great opportunity to have this local cuisine every day. And there is nothing better, in my opinion, than this simple bean dish. Maybe you remember, it's called lobio. It's very basic. It's just beans with a little bit of spices, served with cheese, and it's an experience of its own. It's amazing. And to be honest, you cannot make this dish at home. You need these Georgian hands of a Georgian woman who can cook, and then this dish is amazing. So lobio is my top one, and of course, Jarian hachapuri is crazy. It's crazy with the amount of calories it contains and the taste of cheese and butter and bread and everything mixed together. Jeez, it's amazing. I love it, really.
Yeah, calories, definitely. I love food, but I love a lot of things Georgian cuisine. And I, of course, don't go too long, couple of weeks every, but
It's enough.
after even couple of weeks, I gain weight. This is true.
Yeah, it's very hard to choose one dish because everything is amazing. But what is interesting, and maybe visitors should know about this, that in Georgia, we have 99% of restaurants, it's Georgian food. And in every of these restaurants, the menu looks basically the same. And if you want to choose a good restaurant, you just have to look if Georgians are sitting there. But it's not in Georgians because men can eat anything if it's added with cha-cha. But if Georgian women and children are sitting there, I guarantee that the food is everything family style and home quality. So just look at the locals and go there.
Good advice. Look at the women and kids, and you will have a good guarantee. To let you know and remind the people listening to us, we are arranging this year the motorbike transport to Georgia, which will take place in August. So you will have a chance to ride all the different places in August on your motorbike, or you can use one of the Martina's car as well if you are the biker. You can combine this. So you are more than welcome to join our transport. Martin, will decision whether to go to or not. Please tell us what is the COVID and Corona situation. Are there any solutions set by country how we can travel and restrictions? It's very interesting.
Yeah, so about this subject, we have to really start from giving you such information that most of the regions in Georgia were not touched by coronavirus. And it's true. We had very little problem with it, and most of our sick people were taken from this quarantine zone, so they were not spreading virus. And right now, we don't have a problem with it. What our government is thinking about is to make the maximum amount of people allowed in a car less by 50% than it was before. So, for example, in minivan that could take 10 people, now only 5 people will be out inside. Also, in the restaurants, in any public place, they are checking your temperature, and inside you are obligated to wear a face mask. But to be completely honest, we are still waiting for a final decision on Wednesday because we still don't have final regulations for individual travelers. So for us, basically, what we have right now is regulations that are created for bus tours and for big travel agencies. But I don't believe it will be so hard for us to obtain these new regulations. The only thing I'm worried about is actually our government is thinking about such regulations that will not allow two people that are not relatives or family members to sleep together in one bed. And I think I cannot imagine how they can spoil our holidays like this. I think it's just against of human rights. So I hope they will do. Yeah. Really, such a fun spoilers. I don't believe it. It's a very traditional country, but this is a little bit too far. Like, come on, Georgian government, let the summonses begin.
Yeah, especially on the seaside, but and there, but we believe they will spoil the holidays. They can.
And how they check?
Martina, we have a question. Maybe is it possible to combine a trip in Georgia with going to Armenia as well, given in mind COVID restrictions?
So right now it will not be possible, and I don't expect it to be possible in up season. And why? Unfortunately, our neighbors, Armenia, their situation is very hard. The amount of sick people is much bigger than a European country, and they don't have enough places in hospitals. And in general, it's a very hard situation. No one wants to open borders with Armenia. I mean, no one. The last border opened for Armenia was Georgia, so now even we don't want to do it. And I don't think that in this season it will be possible, but you can look at Azerbaijan. This is much bigger chance for that.
Okay, or stay in Georgia and discover.
Yeah, that's travel. Georgia is giving you some amount of places to visit. You will not be bored even for 1 month. But if you want to combine it with second country, go to Azerbaijan. It's much more likely, but still not sure.
Okay, thank you for the advice. Martina, thank you for your time. Thank you for talking with us. Thank you for sharing this super useful tips and advice on how to travel in Georgia. do and what not to. We will keep our tips regarding the restrictions, the COVID restrictions, which will hopefully show up in Georgia on Wednesday. So please let us know the outcome, and hopefully we meet in August, not only us, but also other people. I am sure they are very impacted. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So,
See you all in August. And also, I want to say to you that come, have fun, let's meet, let's drink. Bye.
bye bye. And thank you all for joining us today. And hope you got some useful information about Georgia. We really hope you will get transport to Georgia. You will travel on bike there and meet Martina and drink wine with her and have fun. And that's share with us some experiences. This is all for today. Keep you posted regarding the restrictions and rules. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and newsletter. So in this way, you will be completely updated with all the news that is going on around Europe and what's going on with our company. Bye for today from our people in Warsaw. See you next